Kia ora, guys. How are ya? Long time no chat. Hey, so me and my friend Eli Mathewson here.
Hi.
We are making a documentary series about porn. Yep, you heard it. P-O-R-N. I'm not afraid to say it. So, as part of this documentary series, we are putting together a survey which asks a bunch of questions about your relationship with porn. So, if you're over the age of 18 and want to contribute anonymously to the survey, then please, you can tap on this link here and contribute. Otherwise, if you don't want to, say la vie. Go enjoy your stir fry. Love ya. Bye.
I like how you said, I'm not afraid to say it. But I know behind the scenes, you're a little afraid to say it.
Well, it was hard.
Yeah, it's scary.
It definitely feels way more real putting it out to Instagram. Because there's going to be so many people that are just going to message me being like, don't you think this is a touch inappropriate considering your audience?
Kids who watch your funny videos.
I'm like, I didn't ask the kids to follow me. Before Celebrity Treasure Island, it was just the gay people following me. And now it's kids. And I can't help that. Could you imagine being a young person? One, could you imagine that? But then two, like talking openly about porn.
If an adult came up to me and I was a young person and was like, do you want to chat about porn? I would say, no, I've never heard of it.
What?
I don't know what that is.
What is it? Sorry.
I've been too busy working hard at school.
Yeah. This would be my answer if my dad's like, have you ever looked at funny websites? Because that's what they would say, like funny website. Funny websites. I'd be like, no. Like they come across, but I always click out of them. Meanwhile, I'll have like an incognito pad, like whole user browser up that's like hunky men in showers, jocks sucking cock. Well, this will be fun. So you work for an organisation called the Light Project, is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about like what that organisation is and where it came about?
Of course. So basically we work with young people. We do education with them, ask them what's going on for them in terms of porn, what are the issues they're struggling with. I actually do a lot of work in child sex trafficking and spent a lot of time in the Philippines and was surprised at how many girls had been involved in porn. So I came back to New Zealand, did some research and was really surprised at this whole new landscape for young people.
What is the landscape now? Because we are like dial-up babies. Like, what's it like for kids out there right now?
So it's really, really completely changed. And there's just this kind of sea or this plethora of porn available now for young people. And different from dial-up days, in terms of what the data tells us, is that a large amount of porn now contains themes that are sexually aggressive, racist, homophobic. There's a lot of sexual violence across the content that young people engage with.
So what is the age that kids are now engaging with porn?
Again, we've got New Zealand data, and they've said like a quarter had seen porn by the time they were 12. Because that's the other thing that's changed with the sites, when you asked about the landscape, is there's no age verification needed. So a 6-year-old can go on a porn site and watch and have a good time or a bad time. It's really easy to find porn.
So has your research brought out any kind of conclusive answer as to whether the stuff that the kids are watching does actually have an impact on the way that they're behaving with each other in sexual encounters?
Yeah, so there's a lot of data now. A lot of academics say the jury's in terms of associations between watching porn, particularly a lot of porn and particularly a lot of violent porn, and behaviours like an increased acceptance of sexual violence, more likely to be coercive and force sex, that type of thing. So we do a lot of work with police and corrections because particularly with the growing genres like rough sex and choking, they're seeing a lot more of that coming through. And one of the things that they've told us is that the first time young people ever get conversations around these acts or behaviours not being okay is once they're on a criminal trajectory.
Yeah.
And that's pretty sad, eh?
Yeah.
Do you feel okay?
What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm like, we don't even know what we're getting into. And then so why even start to try and get into it? like, it is actually... The only porn I've watched is, like, happy gay porn stars who are, you know, feeling really on top of what they're doing. You know, it's not on the really, like, extreme ends of things. And then, not that there's anything wrong with people who want to watch this. It's a minefield.
We are...
How do you feel?
a little depressed about 10-year-olds watching awful porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like I came into this just being like, all I want to know is like more about what porn is and like how it's made. And then I've like peeked into the world and then it's like human trafficking. like, that's the answer. And I'm like, fuck, like I don't want it to be that, like, fuck.
But that's not all, I don't want to say this, but that's not all porn. Hashtag not all porn.
Here's our slogan.
I know. Every article is so negative, eh?
Oh, like, it's almost like clickbaity in terms of just like the fear-mongering they're trying to bring out. I mean, I know it's bad, but I'm like, hooked on porn. Prepare for a tsunami of damaged people.
A tsunami.
Yeah. Who is this classifications office? Because they get referenced a lot in all these headlines. I'm going to Google them. Our mission is to inform and empower New Zealanders to experience, understand, create and share content in a positive way while safeguarding our tamariki and rangatahi from harm. These guys seem official.
I'm just looking at them on LinkedIn as well. I'm on there, by the way.
Go off.
Wow, I'm a professional.
Yeah, I love that.
Kate Whitaker is someone who works at a classification office and I believe specifically looks at young people and harmful media, including pornography. What I'm hearing is we need to take a little trip to the capital city.
I'm obsessed with the idea of being in Wellington.
Same. And I've seen Kate do improv at Bats Theatre.
She's an improviser.
Yeah.
Gosh, us improvisers, we're everywhere. Yes,
Yes, and.
Let's help our youth. Yes, and.
And then we cut, and then we're like, yes, and we're in Wellington.
Yeah, it's great. Ready? Yes, and.
So we've conducted a youth-focused research project that began in 2018 with a survey of 2,000 young New Zealanders aged 14 to 17. So that was about 1% of the population. And it asked them about their views on pornography, whether they'd seen porn, when they'd first watched porn, and what they thought the impacts of porn was.
Do you have stats on, like, how many come back to watch it and start maybe, like, what is a porn viewing behaviour?
Of the 2,000 people we surveyed, 15% became regular users, and a regular user was someone who'd seen it once a month or more.
Did that surprise you?
Low. Yeah, it's low.
That's low.
Yeah.
So in your job,
Yes.
you go out to schools, you talk to kids?
Yeah, so I work with parents and whānau and also teachers and those working with young people.
Is that, like, what do you come up against when you talk to parents? Are they difficult conversations? Are they willing to...
Parents want to know how to do this conversation well. I think the biggest thing for parents is that they're anxious. They're worried that they're going to get the conversation wrong.
And how do young people feel about it?
Well, it's awkward.
Yes.
You know, like, it's awkward talking to your parent about, about sex, let alone about pornography. But what the research shows us is that they think it's really important to have these conversations.
What are the sorts of things that, like, an educator or a parent can bring to that conversation to make it easier?
The most important thing is listening. And that can be really hard, especially for a parent, because as parents, we want to protect our kids, right? So we come into this conversation with all these things that we are wanting to say and get across to our young person, so we forget to listen. And what we really want them to do is to be thinking critically about what they might see. And the research shows us that they can do that. They can see both positives and negatives of pornography. It's not as black and white.
Because it's a hot topic, isn't it? Like, it's like scary because you don't know how people are going to react and...
Lower the temperature on that conversation.
Right.
Yeah, so, and also to do that, it would be important to remove the stigma and taboo that surrounds it.
My sex education when I was at school was really bad. It was like, here's all the STIs you're going to get, here's a condom, try not to do it. Has that changed? Is sex education now like...
Yeah, so the there's new relationship and sexuality education guidelines that were released in 2020, and now they include the concept of pleasure.
Wow.
Yeah.
We are trying to, I guess, open up the conversation around pornography. If you were to think of like 3 words, 4 words, or like some sort of phrase that you would use, do you know what that would be?
I think we need to think about what we bring to the conversation to start with. I think if we go into this conversation with anxiety, then that can be misinterpreted by the young people as anger, and it'll shut down the conversation. We can be honest, you know, we can say, hey, this is an awkward conversation. And sometimes it'll get totally shut down, yeah? And you can try again another day. Wow. That was a lot of words.
It was, I'm just trying to, yeah, what is that? That's like, porn's here? That came quite anxious, I would say. Porn's here.
What about porn's
Porn's
here to stay?
Wow.
That's not bad. I
Wow.
like that.
You know, some of the headlines are like, this is bad and it's destroying society. And then to hear from someone who's been part of the actual studies behind that and for it to be very like calm and quite chill.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Like, but there's so much that's like, save the kids, save the kids, save the kids. And then it's like, they're like, we know.
We know.
We know.
We're
like,
protecting ourselves pretty
it's like
well.
we presume they're so much more like oblivious to what it is. It's so easy just to get focused on youth because it's like, you can take it off yourself and be like, well, I'm just worried about the kids. Versus like looking in at the mirror about like your own relationship with porn.
Like, how can we demonstrate what a good relationship with pornography is if we don't have it ourselves?
Yes.
Because we had bad sex education.
Yes.
So I wouldn't consider that chapter of my life complete yet. You know, like, I feel like I didn't learn it at school. I learned about it through talking to my friends, and only now at 33 years old am I like, I think I kind of get sex.
Yeah. I mean, it's a relief to hear that it's like they're bringing in the conversation of pleasure into the equation, because I think that's the thing that made me want to watch porn. I wanted to understand where it was enjoyable or how it was fun, you know?
Yeah.
It makes me feel better, I guess, about like doing this campaign.
I definitely want to have some like fun interviews now, though.
Yes.
I want there to be the fun world of porn, not the scary stuff.
Because it can be great.
Yeah.
We're fucking adults. We can do whatever the fuck we like.
We can watch whatever.
I can
We
watch
can stay
a colour.
whatever hell we want.
I can watch a guy
Sleep in.
jerk off in his
Call
bedroom.
and sit to work, stay and watch some porn.
And in terms of your call to action, what are the latest thoughts there?
So we thought maybe something around porn's here to stay is that a call to action or is that just a statement?
That's what it's
a statement.
You gotta have more confidence in it, more confidence in it.
Yeah.
Hold on, we're gonna repitch it
Okay,
again.
okay, please tell me. Yeah.
So we thought
We've landed on.
Yeah.
Porn's here to stay.
To stay the night?
To stay.
Oh, see, I see where your brain's going. Stop hiding porn. You know, like
Well-
the peepee little hoo-doo-doo.
So are you saying let's get out and share your porn collection?
Porn is fun.
Would there be anything in like share your porn journey?
Yes.
Sharing the journey, sharing the personal journey to find the good stuff. I mean, that's what.
The Holy Grail. The best porn club in the world.
Yeah.
What about like National Treasure, but it's National Pleasure?
Ooh, that's
The
quite
Nicolas
good.
Cage treasure hunting.
Oh.
movie. Treasure hunting outfits.
Oh my
We've
God.
got fedoras and whips.
Oh my God, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So what you're asking for us to do is think of all these ideas down into one kind of simple thing. We want something that makes people go, huh? What's that?
Exactly.
Just
I
a
need.
tap, 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 tap.
I need to find out more. And oh gosh.
Those disgusting gay comedians.
Yeah.
Destroy their careers. Filthy, filthy brains. We must save the youth. They're being destroyed by porn. Porn is everywhere. Burn it all. Delete it all.
Maybe porn's okay. I watched the filthy gay comedians and now I'm having some chats with my kids.
There's actually some better choices you can make. I might even consider paying for this stuff. Imagine if I lived in a world where I was just paying the sex workers for the porn that I was making. I was supporting a sex work industry as well as enjoying stuff and not understanding that it's just erotic and fun.
Anyway, into Facebook status. Happy weekend, everyone.
Going to Bryce's 40th. So excited. 40th? 60th.
60th.
Yeah.
60th.
tarde se acaba, a vista pro mar. Brisa tão